Please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Over the weekend I noticed something rather interesting taking place on a channel for somebody I'm quite happy punching down at, because they deserve it, and I don't think there'll ever be a point where they don't deserve it. You know who you are, everyone does in fact. You hurt my friend, therefore you are my punchback. Congratulations. What I'm going to do though, is go back to the 30th of July, because I think this ties in somehow. On Discord, Keffels have posted, at everyone, at here, the Discord is not going to be closed, but I locked my account and won't be streaming from this point onward. I want to prioritize my own happiness, and that means moving on with my life. Thank you for everything from the bottom of my heart. We helped so many people, and all I ask is that once I am gone, you do the same for others. What a heartfelt and loving message that encourages so much positivity, built on a foundation of embezzlement and fraud, which, let's face it here, is an accurate summation for one whose career only existed because of a ratio meme on right-wingers and ended because you were incapable of playing a long-term game in favour of short-term gratification, validation and shitbaggery. I will dunk on Keffels for a while. Of course, I should point out this is not the person who hurt my friend, but because of the connections, the close ties, I have to include Keffels first. Included in that Discord message, which has a lot of emojis responding to it in this farewell tour that's been going on for a while, is 3 tweets. It's been a good run. I laughed with all of you. I cried with all of you. We've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity. Is that code for the GoFundMe that you blew up your nose? Thank you all for the memories and for giving me a platform to help others, even though it's built on a lie because you raised loads of money because you claimed you were being harassed when in reality you were using it to get away from someone. Right. And for giving me a platform to help others. It's time for me to move on with my life until we meet again. Well, based on how you've handled people wanting to meet you in the past, I doubt that's going to be the case here, or welcoming at all. Live streaming destroyed my mental health. Oh, we're doing the worse than a real job thing, aren't we? As I do both, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, anyone that thinks streaming is a harder job than working a real job is somebody that lives within an ivory tower. I live with PTSD from it, constantly afraid of swatting attempts, constant panic attacks and dealing with people even in leftist spaces like Xanderhall, who fantasized about violently beating me to unalive. I can't do this anymore. Xanderhall is a unique case and we've covered them here. I will not be defending Xanderhall. The irrational actions of your mind to induce such things like anxiety attacks is rather unfortunately in your case a consequence of your irrational mind still trying to justify the fact you lie. Dealing with people even from leftist spaces though. So you've mentioned Xanderhall explicitly. If there are others, I am sure they are all holding you accountable because you are a liar, fraud and cheat. I can't do this anymore. I doubt you could anyway. You are earning bugger all and I'm pretty sure your case in Canada is going nowhere. I have friends, loved ones, a social life and I'm thriving with my life offline. Don't feel bad for me. Well, that's fortunate really, isn't it? Leaving everything behind was a really difficult decision, not when you've got nothing left, but one I ultimately made because I love myself and want to experience a life that is worth living. Now, I agree with this sentiment of wanting to live a life and have one that is worth living. I love my life, even though I do spend most of my time making videos. I spend a lot of time streaming, I do cleaning work, I do building projects, I paint Warhammer, play guitar, read books, play video games. I don't need that social life you need because you are very much a social creature. But you're a social creature that needs validation. That's your problem. I mentioned short-term gratification, and that's because you did the GoFundMe to raise all that money so you could escape based on a lie, which we've covered here before, instead of doing what you could have done, and that is simply live stream on a regular, on Twitch, giving your political takes, and keeping your audience coming back. But you had to keep lying, and you were lying from the offset. So you leaving, we're happy about. I'll probably be aware of now at the end of the year on you, but unless you do something in the interim, I don't see a reason to do many more videos on you, to be honest. There are 2 more Discord messages I want to read before we move over to the next person who is the however to that final part there. I want to say by leaving the internet, I mean retiring as a streamer, as a content creator, as an online personality. I will be online, just not in the capacity I was. I don't want thousands of eyes on me. My name is Clara Sorrenti, and I am just some stupid girl who lives in Ireland who likes to make pasta and spend time with my friends and loved ones. How very Irish of you. I don't care who you are, name-wise. I really don't. You'll always in the online space be Keffels. And the reason why I don't care who you are, away from this, your real name and all that, is because it doesn't change the identity of the person and the fraud that you are. Now, somebody called Beardmath has said, goodbye, Clara, have a good one. Clara, Keffels, Keffy Poop, thank you for calling me by my actual name. Keffels was a persona, a brand, not a person. I am Clara Sorrenti. Think like I am Iron Man, but the suit of armor is made of pasta. That hasn't been put in the pot yet. Yeah. I could believe that Keffels was a persona if it wasn't for the fact that you have done vlogs in the past, and those vlogs are tragic. Now, where this ties into the person I'm happy to use as a punch bag comes into it, we then skip over, so we have to ignore the fact that he's a fraud. We skip over to this accidental re-upload on Tipster's channel. Keffels checks into rehab for a drug addiction. Now, this was tweeted out by Chris the Nazi Narc. I took the liberty of going to look on YouTube by typing it into the search bar, and it is in fact there. The video is still, in fact, at time of recording, public. And there are no more recent comments on it within the past 8 months anyway. That's interesting to me. So then we now go to the Tipster channel, and we find that his more recent uploads had all been video gameplay. But that's not the case anymore. The video gameplay is there, Resident Evil, of course, he's well known for being a fan of that game. A Great Escape from Reality. I'm sure there's some art imitating life commentary I can insert here, but I can't be asked to make those analogies. But he's made a boatload of content public again, and this has raised a number of questions from me and many others. The first question I had in my mind was, what on earth inspired him to do this? Now, this leads to a bunch of questions underneath. Is it to perhaps maintain his position within the YouTube algorithm? And is it to maintain his position within the YouTube partner program? Because as you'll notice on the gameplay footage videos, the views aren't that great. And there's no version of this where he's getting by on that if he wants to get by on it as a creator. No offense intended here, but an oversaturated market playing retro games, and these are retro, the old versions anyway, would not lend credence to the idea that you could be remotely successful, especially when your social blade quite clearly shows you aren't growing at all. Hell, your viewership for July was 14,184 views for the entire month. If you go back 2 months, you'd privated 24 million views. 1 month back, 2.2 million views. You haven't grown in subscribers since May 2023. Your channel is by any stretch of the imagination dead. You are getting closer and closer to 103,000, closer to 100,000. If you get to 100,000, you should give your play button back. That's what I think, because just because you've earned the play button doesn't mean you should be allowed to keep the play button. Another question that comes to mind though is, what on earth is going on with the relationship between that of Keffels and Tipster that Tipster has made his old content public again? Not all of it, just to be clear. A lot of the more recent videos where he was doing commentary was all the more left-leaning progressive crap that didn't resonate with his audience, and in fact, if anything, led to him losing more subscribers. But the older videos, over a year old, these ones are interesting because you would have thought he would notice this unless he's just clicked on a top icon on the manager page and just allowed 50 videos to be made public again, not giving any consideration for what videos are there. And since he's not had any new comments on that recent video, he'll undoubtedly not have noticed it. Although, since he's blocked most of those that are within the commentary sphere, if he is considering a comeback, which is pointless at this point, let's face it, he would surely want to consider unblocking them first, apologising to them and anyone else he hurt at the same time, and then hoping and praying he gets an opportunity on some podcast. Or maybe hosting a successful news drama channel perhaps. Or maybe being invited onto somebody's very successful gaming streams. Not mine then, I get like 15 viewers, which is awesome by the way. My audience is very chatty. But yes, this raises a question. Or two. Or three. 3 so far. There are more. Have I written them down? Oh yes, a follow-up question. Why even bother making your content public again when none of it will get any residual views or rewatchability? So, since we know that to be the case, we have to go back to the belief that it is solely done to get one's channel put back into the algorithm, because his channel is not in good standing. Therefore, it is suppressed. He knows he's shadow banned to an extent, or was at one point when people were making videos on him on a daily. Hi, I was doing that. and more than happy to keep doing it, quite frankly. But because he removed over 26 million views, his channel was buried because there was no point promoting a channel that was going nowhere. So did he get approval from his boss, Keffy Poop? Did he give her just the tip? Or is it possible with her retiring that he is no longer as much a factor in the irrelevant one's life? Think the golden one, but now the irrelevantly golden one in the form of Keffy Poop, so much so that he can now start to be his own uniqueness again. And by uniqueness I mean 2 chins, a can of boomer juice, and a snapback. I could criticize you all day, and I'm more than happy to do it. Hannah is my friend, and you hurt her. I'm not gonna let you forget that.